everybody. I'm your host, Jaime Soretta. On this podcast, we celebrate everything local in Arizona. And when you talk about local, we like to start with the basics, and that's what they do at Naked Rebellion. I want to introduce you to the owners of the business. I have with me Jessica Wenger-McFall and Jay McFall. Hello, you two.
Hello.
So when we're talking about basics, Jess, what are we talking about here?
We're talking about the foundational garments underneath everything you wear, the most important thing in your wardrobe, your bras and your underwear.
Bras and underwear.
Yeah.
And this is important because when you talk about comfort,
Yes.
shape, and being on television for some of us, I mean, it's a big deal.
It's a big deal.
And tell me, first of all, how you two met.
You can go.
How did we meet?
How did you meet?
We both were working in Hollywood at the time, and we were working on a small independent film. And you were the assistant costume designer. I was an assistant to the director. And those two jobs can be kind of pitted against each other in a way.
Yeah.
It's butting of heads. And so we had to communicate on behalf of our bosses, and we did not hit it off.
We did not. He had just
No.
moved to LA, and I was trying to juggle a lot at the same time. And I was like, cut to the chase, dude. And you were like,
Yeah.
could you
Thick
be nicer?
Southern accent.
Could you be just a little nicer, maybe?
Yeah. So we worked together for like 4 months and became kind of friends, right?
Yeah.
And
Friendly.
Yeah.
Friendly.
Friendly. Yeah.
And then just fell into like, maybe you want to go out,
Yeah.
right?
And here we are. Like, it literally, there was no like beginning or end. It felt like it just was,
Yeah,
right? And
she
here we
moved
are.
into
And
my
it's,
apartment really fast.
Oh, how fast?
it was pretty fast. We had
6-7 months.
It was a weird thing where we had another job on location, and it felt weird for us to both play two
Yeah.
rents and then be on location. And then that job we were going on location for fell through, and then it was like, oh, now we live together.
Yeah.
Oh, my.
So here we are.
It was a
It
leap of
worked.
faith.
Well, you say a leap of faith, and that I think really goes into owning a business. And it was a leap of faith after something kind of really stunning happened in your business. So, Jessica, tell me what led to Naked Rebellion.
Yeah, so I, like Jay mentioned, was a costume designer, and I worked on lots of different projects throughout my career. And early on, so we're talking like almost 18 years ago now, I was working for like a big designer, and as she goes, can you go to Macy's and buy some bras for the talent? So I go and I buy the bras that are at Macy's, and I come back to the fitting, and it's a dance troupe with girls from all over the globe, like mostly Africa. So they have all different skin tones. And in my hand are these like beige bras that match absolutely nobody in the room, but that's the only skin tone that Macy's sold. Long story short, they put these on in their fittings. Producers were there, creatives were there. All you could see were these like gray boobs with like beautiful costumes, and it just didn't work. And I got fired on the spot for the only option I had at Macy's, and it like floored me. And it wasn't that I was fired that I was upset, but it was that I like knew it now, right?
Yeah.
If I'm having this issue as like literally a professional shopper, then absolutely everybody on the globe is having this issue. And why are women pitted against each other, right? Like, how do we be an ally for change in this? Let's make a comfortable bra in actual skin tone so that people are actually represented. And so I went to my boyfriend and was like, hi, I got fired.
Yes, we live together, and you're living together?
Right.
Good
Number
news,
one,
bad news
I got
situation.
fired. Number two, we have to change this. We're broke.
Wow.
We're fired. How do we do this?
Oh my
And so
gosh.
it was like the seed, really the beginning of our relationship of like, how do we solve this?
Yeah.
And now we're cut to right now. We're really happy to say that now Macy's sells our product on their website.
Bum,
So
bum, bum. That's
It's
so cool.
irony.
Yeah,
Yes, it's
very
irony.
cool.
It's full circle.
Yeah.
You created the change you wanted to see.
Exactly.
And now it's on those store shelves. How cool is that?
It's really awesome.
Do you saunter through Macy's sometimes? Just glance. Maybe look through, hold it up so that
Right.
people can see, oh, I love this bra.
So comfy. Yes. Well, I mean, it's really exciting, and we opened our flagship store here in Phoenix too. So it's been incredible to like be able to talk with our customers and have them try it on and be like, I don't know if this is going to do it, and it's like
It does it.
It does it.
Well,
It's-
you and I had that conversation in the fitting room.
Right.
Oh,
Well, because we don't make a traditional bra or use traditional materials, right? Like, how many women do you know at the end of their workday just want to rip their bra off, right? They're
In
so
the middle of the
uncomfortable.
workday.
Right. Like, they're like, oh, I'm so
Want to.
uncomfortable. And so when I started working on Dancing with the Stars, what we use is this material called a power mesh, and it's built underneath every dance costume, and then the rest is on top of it. So I knew that it would hold you in. it would lift you, but it would be comfortable all day. Like these girls are dancing in it, and there's nothing else under their dance costumes, right? And so it was like this light bulb moment. We take Power Mesh at Dancing with the Stars and we color it in everybody's skin tone so it matches them exactly. So I was like, okay, we ran home from work that day and was like, I know how to do it. I know what fabric we're doing.
Wow.
How can we make this happen? So it was just like little Easter eggs throughout my entire career of like, okay, here's what the problem you have to solve. Here's what you're going to use. Now here's where you got to go. So it's been a really cool like culmination of truly 20 years of industry experience and life experience to be able to like put this product out there that people want to buy.
Yeah, and we have to mention you're a hometown girl.
Yeah, I am. Chaparral.
Chaparral, did you grow up in the Valley?
I did. I grew up like right off Tatum and Doubletree right there.
Wow, very cool. So you're right down the road from me.
Yeah,
That was at Tatum and Shea.
And it's crazy now, like that was on one side of the mountain. Now we live on the other side of that mountain, which is so crazy I never thought I would ever do that. I was like, let's get out of here. Let's move. And went to LA, but I'm so very happy to be back and blessed in this amazing community of people here.
It's good to be home, isn't it?
It is.
I live on the flip side of the mountain too, and in high school I would drive Lincoln.
Yeah.
In my little, I had a Mustang convertible.
So
an
did
older-
I.
Stop it. A little Mustang convertible, so you know the joy
yeah.
of dropping the top and driving and looking at that mountain. And to me, it was a staple in our community, a beautiful thing, and I just wanted to give back to our community. So it's always fun to see someone who I can see that connection with as well. So we have to bring back that you guys were in the suit business, Jay. Tell me about this, because when you brought along the idea of doing underwear, you had been making some clothing.
Yeah. So I was looking for an excuse to get out of Hollywood, to get out of the grind. So we had just a terrible experience with tuxedos for our wedding.
Oh.
And I mean, just Jess said, I just think it's gross that you're going to wear something that maybe 100 other dudes have worn, right?
Right. And like, it's our wedding. Like, it should be special for you.
Yeah.
And she at the time was on Dancing with the Stars, and she said, I have all these tuxedo contacts downtown LA in the fabric garment district. So let's do your tuxedo there. And we really liked the process. And at the time we were like, we could do this as a business, because I was like, I'm a guy that doesn't really wear suits or tuxedos, but we could make this more accessible for guys like me. So we launched a company called Haywood and Ringo. We were in Baltimore at the time and launched it out of our kitchen, basically.
Wow.
So immediately we started getting weddings and started making custom suits for guys business-wise, and it blossomed.
Yeah.
It blossomed.
And we were in Baltimore because I was the costume designer on House of Cards then, which again was very suit heavy. So then we got to I really got to know the suit business, and then we had manufacturers all over the country. I mean the globe. Like we were overseas manufacturers. We had Thailand, we had China, we had lots of places. Vietnam. Like figuring out what was going to give our customer the best price point, the best fit, and kind of like this great experience. And then the pandemic hit, and it was like weddings got canceled, and
Formal weddings.
Yes, and so it was kind of like we had to take a really hard look at ourselves and be like, are we loving this experience? We love running a business. We love creating stuff. We love manufacturing stuff. But is like the suit and wedding business like what lights us up? And we were like, it's not really. So what else? What else is sitting there?
So what? Yeah.
And he goes, well, 18 years ago, you had this idea for this company with skin tone undergarments. Let's make it. We had no name. We had nothing. It was just this like idea. And so we had started that. We started the seed of that in 2019. But then in the pandemic, with our suit manufacturing was like, what are we going to do? We have these factories that want to work, and how do we do it? Banner approached us and was like, hey, can you help?
Yeah.
And they were asking, like, we don't have masks, like we don't have manufacturing. There's, everyone's aware of the shortages that happen. So we were like, okay, I guess we can switch our manufacturing and try to help you. I mean, it's weird to be a suit and an underwear
tuxedo,
manufacturer, right? Like that doesn't have like as much like gravity. Like now we're like, hey, can you be responsible for someone's health during the global pandemic?
Thank you.
Like, I guess we can do that. That seems a little scary.
Yeah, and obviously we had launched Naked Rebellion just a few months before the pandemic, and obviously that just went down the toilet, like everybody's business, especially an online business. And to have like a major hospital system approach us, we had no idea how that business worked, right? So they approached us and they said, hey, you guys make things out of fabric. So let's try this. And they said, by the way, we need millions of these.
Like, here's a PO for $2 million. And I was
Okay.
like, okay, we usually make 3 suits at a time. This is scary.
Yeah.
But we did it, right?
So you made $3 million.
We made $2 million. Yes, it was crazy. We just have said yes and created this environment of like, let's solve problems creatively together and openly, right? You know, we were very open to the hospital of like, we've never done this before, but sure, we're happy to solve it with you. And we're very, very proud to say that happened and successfully. And we played a pretty vital role in keeping people safe during that, which was so crazy to say too.
Shout out to Banner.
Yeah, and to
Right.
you. Congratulations for making it work and doing whatever you needed to do in unknown territory. I mean, there was no one to really ask to find those solutions, but you had the contacts, and that's what mattered. That was the contacts mattered.
Absolutely.
100%.
When I think of film and TV and production, I think you guys must have this massive budget when you're costume designing. Is this true?
It depends on the project to project, right? Like certain jobs, like the ones that you see on massive TV. Yeah, we've got some big budgets and we can spend some money and make some incredible stuff. But a lot of times, like a local independent something, you know, I got to go to Goodwill and try to hope and pray that I find something. So I really have designed at all different levels and budgets. And, you know, creativity sometimes like thrives within constraints, right? So sometimes you get to have like the most creative, amazing stuff when you're just, okay, here's a couple $1,000 and figure out how to make 47 costumes out of $1,000, as opposed to like, okay, well, you have 30 grand this episode, so go spend
Go
it.
have
You
fun.
know, like,
Yeah.
no, don't get me wrong, it's all fun to do,
Yes.
but it's very different. So all different budgets.
So it seems like you guys like to find or have found the niche where there's a need here. What do we do? Whether it's the tuxedo suit or the underwear that matches the skin tone. And there's a next project, Jay, coming up. What is this next business for you?
Gosh, which one?
Well, we're kind of like revamping Haywood and Ringo, right?
Okay.
It's kind of been sitting dormant for a little bit, just like, what do we want it to be? And I think it's an extension of us and what we're really good at. And that's bringing products to life and helping entrepreneurs like kind of have their good idea and help them figure out what's next, because we didn't really have any help in that. We're grateful that we had each other and we work very well together to be able to solve some of those problems. So Haywood and Ringo's relaunching as basically a consulting company. So you can hire us by the hour, by the project, by the month kind of thing, to help you kind of figure out what are the steps to bring your product to life.
We were super lucky when we moved here pre-pandemic. We got involved with an fashion incubator program in Tempe called Fabric Inc. And they just, if anything, they armed us with the confidence to like launch this thing. Because one thing it's kind of sugar-coated in entrepreneurial stuff is you got to come up with money to launch this. You know, everybody's got a great idea and everybody has social media, so you can launch marketing pretty quick, but it costs money. And that was very daunting, but getting involved with those guys was validation.
Yeah, as 2 women that are pretty awesome, that are local ladies here that run that. And they gave us, like Jay said, like the yes, like, okay, you have a good idea, now go do it. And it was the first time we like kind of concretely said it was in our brains and someone heard it and was like, yeah, now go. So having that permission to go is like where we want to help people, and then help with that roadmap of, okay, it does cost a lot of money. So how do you find it? What is the right way to do it? What are the options out there that are just confusing and kind of downright scary if you don't know, if you've never done it before.
Fabric is awesome.
Yes.
Those ladies are awesome. And they came out of LA, right? They did a lot of work in LA and found that there wasn't a lot of support for someone who wanted to make something themselves. The local entrepreneur and the maker and all these ideas. And how do you, like you said, get the money, get the resources, get the machine to cut the fabric, etc. And so what they do down there in Tempe is incredible. I've worked with them before and been down there. It's impressive.
It's very impressive. Yeah, we recommend them to anyone that's like really thinking about a clothing line or any part of it. They do small batch manufacturing. They're so talented and helpful. But so I think that's a really great resource for people here locally. But if you have like, let's say it's jewelry, or let's say you did launch that company and like what is next, that's where we want to come in and really help people with that.
Okay, so
I'm sorry, as far as that consulting too, a central tenet of that will be like working with other couples that are in business
Tell
together.
me more, Jay.
What is it like
Well,
working with your spouse?
I mean, cut back to Naked Haywood and Ringo, our suit business. That was the first experiment of like, hey, let's see if we work well together. And we kind of immediately did. I mean, because we have different skill sets. But I will say on the big stuff, we line up usually 100%. But our skill sets are different. Jess is very like micro level, likes to have her hand in the day to day. I am more 30,000 feet. I see the big picture. I see years down the road. So that has worked well for us.
Yeah, we were like, starting early on, defining our roles and like
Yes.
kind of what silos we operate has been really helpful. But also, he's incredibly creative, as am I. So it's really nice to be able to sit and like come up with some marketing creative and stuff. And he's a wordsmith. He's incredible with words and pronunciations that I clearly am not. So it's been really nice to have him like, come up with some good copy for lots of different voices too. We've had, younger men wanting a suit for a wedding to women for Naked Rebellion and, to entrepreneurs. So he's a lot of great voices. So it's been really cool to watch your spouse grow in that way too.
Yeah, and full honesty, I was kind of scared to work in a women-centered business, but we launched it from the beginning together. But I realized back through my screenwriting prior life in Hollywood, that it's acting in a way. As far as marketing, it's taking the idea and selling it to the customer and making it accessible. And I really have drawn on my Hollywood experience as far as that.
You said you wanted to work with couples. What advice do you have for couples who work together as they're launching a business?
You have high periods and low periods. I think it's being comfortable with switching roles at the drop of a hat. Like I have to be a cheerleader some days and like, hey man, let's power through. Let's crush this. And then the next day I'm like, oh my gosh, how are we going to do this? And then she has to be the cheerleader. Yeah. But just being flexible, honestly, really, and this has been an acquired skill over time, but not letting, you have to compartmentalize, like this is the business and this is marriage, and not letting those bleed into each other because the stresses are different stresses. We want to help other couples with that.
And one like recent, like for this year and a resolution that we came to together was, I read somewhere and I wish I could remember where I saw it, but it takes like 90 minutes a week for couples to kind of like digest the minutia or like the BS of what's going on of like, I'm stressed because of this, or you didn't do the dishes here, or whatever, right? Like 90 minutes, and then you can kind of like move past it. And so if you break it down, that's 13 minutes a day. And so we've got three little boys. Our life is pretty crazy. And so we've now made like this to each other, hold each other accountable for 13 minutes before we go to bed of just like checking in, like, hey, how are you? Did you struggle with anything today? Can I show up for you better? In like that way. And I think that's been really successful so far. And granted, we're in week 2 of it, so I'll let you know. But it's been...
But that's great.
13 minutes is ideal. A lot of times it's 30 seconds. Or
But
3 minutes,
But it's the we're
But
holding
it's the
that
touch
space.
point. It's
right?
the touch point.
Yeah.
Keeping the communication going, not living in our heads.
Right. Well, it's difficult when, as an entrepreneur, the deadlines never stop.
Correct.
They continue. The work never stops.
Correct.
So it's not like you check out and now you go on date night together. And probably at date night, you're still going, oh, are the kids okay? Did we ship out that shipment or whatever?
Right.
So
100%.
how do you find that time to connect as a couple and not as business owners together?
Sometimes date night is sitting together and watching television.
Yeah.
It's just saying, hey, because we're in an office all day together, and then together at night, but saying, hey, let's sit down, be present for each other. Other times, which is, we are forcing this into our lives, but is it actual date night? Yeah. And that could be to go shop together for socks for the kids.
Ooh, romantic.
Or
Just what you want.
Or going to El Choro, if we can,
Ooh, yeah.
which we love. Or, but there's a billion amazing restaurants here,
Right.
but just the traditional date night.
And the one tactic we got it from your mom, and she would do it for you and your brother, like after sports stuff was, if you lost or you won or whatever, you had 5 minutes at home to feel sad, to feel whatever, to do all of that stuff. And then it's like you process it and you get on with your day. And that's kind of, at least for me, when I sit down, I'm kind of like, okay, I get 5 minutes to be like, hey, here's some unfinished business or whatever from this day. And then be able to move on from it, because it's just no place to like live in that constant stress and adrenaline rush. So that like 5 minute you can cry because you lost your game rule, I've definitely tried to put onto myself. Sometimes it bleeds over 5 minutes, but
Yeah, I feel like
teach our kids that too.
Yeah, well, that's great advice. I might need 15.
Yeah, I'll give you
I
15.
need
Oh gosh. Yeah.
to just sit. I feel like the day is so active with so many people, so many emails, the phone's always pinging. I will come home and just, I feel like I'm catatonic for maybe a
Right.
half an hour, and then I can go about my day. But I'll start at 5.
Okay.
We'll
You
see.
can
I'll set
do
alarms.
8 minutes. What's your favorite number? Start there.
7.
Give
I like
yourself
7.
a 7
Yes,
minutes.
yes.
Set a timer and like write it all out too. Like once you start to purge it out, you're like, okay, I processed it. It feels better. It's
So we've
nice.
talked a lot, but we got to talk about Naked Rebellion.
Yes, I know.
What will we find in your store? Because you're at the Fred. Tell us
Yes.
where the Fred is located.
So 12th Street in Missouri, like in North Central Phoenix, actually right around the street here from the
Yes,
studio, which is
love
fun.
that.
And it's the Fred complex itself is a really cool like neighborhoody feel. There's a coffee shop. There's 9 different places in there, 8 of which are women-owned businesses. So it's so awesome,
Yeah.
local owned and operated. And then in our store, of course, we have our core collection of Naked Rebellion, which is 9 different nude shades, so 9 different skin tones, 3 bra styles, 3 underwear styles. And again, they're all power mesh and nylon. So there's no wires, no hooks, no clasp, the things that you hate in a bra. We don't use it. And then the rest of the store is either local women-owned businesses that we support. So like some jewelry, we have Sanita, which is a local activewear company. And we also have women-owned factories that we manufacture at. So we have silk pajamas that come from a women-owned factory in India that are one of a kind and incredible. We have a factory in Italy that makes some of our seamless brand of activewear, seamless underwear and stuff. So we've got just like a fun bunch of really cool things, local jewelry from Brad and Ray and from Teal Market, and just like amazing candles from Paro Home. So it's a little bit of everything. There's a lot of like women empowerment vibe in there. So there's like t-shirts that say cool, funny things on them too. And we try to have the collection kind of curated and changing every couple of weeks. So every time you come in, it feels a little different.
So this is a little mini shopping center.
Yes.
For the folks who go to a Kierland or a Court or whatever. Parking's terrible.
Yes.
Love ya. But
Yes.
it's not at your place.
No.
It is easy. It's beautiful. And then you're shopping local every single store that you stop into, which I
Yes.
love. What does that community feel like? Because you're not just moving into a storefront, you're moving into a community there.
Yeah. Well, we get to plan events together. And so you get to, everybody specializes in something. So you have fine jewelry, you have a florist, you have like really fashion heavy, you have a skincare, you have a kids store and a vintage store. So you really get like all of these touch
Vibes,
points of
yeah.
whatever like you're looking to shop for. So as when we all come together to do an event, like we all do something so specific and so different, but so supporting each other. It's really awesome to be like, okay, you go here and you get a certain percentage off, or go here and they're having this today, or here and it's really fun to be able to kind of like plan this event calendar out with everybody to support each other's businesses, because that's really like. If there's a through line in me, it is supporting women and supporting local owned business. So being able to do that in my own business is incredible.
And the foot traffic from that neighborhood is great, and we've met really just great residents from there. So, as far as the community, it's amazing.
Yeah.
My dentist is right there.
Love it.
So I always look right over. I'm like, have you guys been to the Fred? You got to go to the Fred. So I'm marketing for you at my dentist's office.
Literal word of mouth,
Yeah,
right?
And they understand that over there. They're very well attuned to doing that. So I like to ask on this podcast about the jump. So before a business owner makes that jump, quits the job, goes full time, what advice do you have for them?
Make the jump.
Yeah.
I mean, once you're all in like we are, it forces you to make it work.
Yeah.
So you're going to work up to, am I going to do this? Am I really going to make the jump? And just do it. Just do it. It's very simple. It's extremely difficult, but it's simple, the concept. do it.
And just and on that, I'll give like a more practical thing then. So that's like, yes, there's never the right time for anything. So you always just do it. Like if it's calling you and it keeps coming back, the thing I've been saying lately is what's meant for you finds you. It doesn't miss you. You can't miss it either. Like it finds you. And so if it's like eating inside of you to do this, then do it. But I would also say if you have a stable job, yes, it may be this job that you don't love or whatever, have enough saved up so that you don't feel this financial stress of your basic needs being met. So if you can save between 3 and 6 months at the very minimum before you make that jump so that you know that you can focus on that and not feel the stress of like, can I buy groceries today? I think that's super important. So I would say if it's inside you, then look at your finances, cut all the spending you don't need, start to save as much as you can to hit that number for your 6 months and then make that jump.
Beautiful answer. So what are you guys loving right now in Arizona? What are you doing? What are you eating? What are you reading?
I mean, number one's the weather. You know, we put up with the heat to get to this part. We're huge outdoorsmen. We live right near Phoenix Mountain Preserve and we're huge hikers. So, I mean, I know it's cliche, but it's why snowbirds come here.
Yeah.
Right.
It's so amazing right now.
We did a goal. I did a goal. I think you're on it with me. 50 hikes this year.
Oh, wow.
And so which really is like one a week, which isn't that crazy. It doesn't have to be a big deal once.
Okay.
So we've already hit 2 of our 50. We're in the second week of the year. So that's been really fun for me to be able to hit that. And I just love shopping local. I think it's it's amazing. I think there's incredible new hat makers in town.
Oh, yes.
Which are so exciting. And it's just, I don't know. I love Arizona right now. I can't believe it. My favorite thing in Arizona, I will say, as an entrepreneur, is the founders, though. I think that's actually where we got to meet in person for the first time.
Yes.
But it is an incredible community for local women entrepreneurs. And Coley's put her heart and soul into it and done a lot of incredible changes. And it's just, it's a community where I get to talk to, number one, 150 customers every month, which is insane to be able to do that.
But not only customers, but fellow business women.
Correct, right? Like
These women are ballers.
Amazing people, and like and these amazing women are holding you accountable, and you get to like tell your hopes and dreams and fears and struggles with, and they do too. It's truly one of my favorite things out there. So that's what I really love about Arizona.
So let's back up. I told that hat maker we're talking about.
Yes.
We're talking about Millen Habs because
Yes.
that was who I interviewed today on My Local Love, and we had discussed her.
Yes.
And I told her about the foundress. So when I meet some of these women who are own businesses, I always tell them about the foundress. And this goes back to Dunk in the Trunk,
Yes.
which we know this marketplace and these 2 women in town who started in the backyard, do this huge market, and then created this. You talk about fabric being an incubator. It's kind of an incubator space for business women to brainstorm, to have panelists come up and speak about their expertise. And if you're a female business owner, I highly recommend get involved with those.
Yeah. Well, and your first meeting is free. So if you feel like you need to go, you can DM Naked Rebellion or me or whatever, and I'll get you on that first list because it's incredible.
Yeah, it's great women.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
What does Naked Rebellion mean? What's that name mean?
I think it is taking your basic need, like what if stripping it down to where you're naked, right? And then rebelling against what society has told us how you're supposed to feel when you're naked, what you're supposed to look like. So for me, that's what it is. Like we are this new place where you get to come and be seen exactly as you are. Like how many businesses and brands out there that you shop or frequent do you feel like actually see you and like actually get you? We want you to walk in, and no matter what you look like, what size you wear, you can come in and find something to buy in this store. So that's what it is to me. It's a rebelling against what I was told my body needed to change and look like and do to be normal, into just like changing what that vernacular is. I mean, a big deal for us, the average U.S. American woman is a size 16, and only 15% of retail stores actually sell something she can buy at. Crazy. That's so crazy. So I want you, no matter who you are, no matter what you look like, no matter what you wear, doesn't define you, but you can come here and you can find something to wear.
Jay, I bet you've learned a lot about women's clothing.
Yeah, I'm an expert in a way. No, but like you're hearing it first, we're going to launch a men's line too.
What?
Yeah.
Tell me more.
We would love to launch it Q4 of this year, but I think it'll be early 2025.
Yeah, I don't know that we're going to call it a men's line. It's going to actually be called our gender inclusive line, so that doesn't matter no titles, no labels in this, but something that both he and I could wear and wear out, wear to sleep, wear whatever. So
I get some design input though.
He
because
does.
Jess is chief designer, obviously.
So what do you demand of this new line that is coming into Naked Rebellion? What is your request of this new line?
Comfort.
Yeah,
Good.
amen.
yeah, that's what we do. That's what we do.
But
best here.
durability, because by far the best selling men's underwear is like the 3-pack of Hanes
Yeah.
tidy whities.
Yeah.
Right.
But it works.
Right.
Yeah.
The male shopper is a fascinating, totally different beast than a female shopper.
Yeah.
So like the marketing in it is very different. Like men want the same thing because it's trustworthy and they just want to buy it on repeat and never
Right.
think about it again. So they'd have bought this 3-pack of underwear because they have their whole
Right.
life. They don't have to change it, right? There's not a whole lot of thought they want to put into it.
Creatures of habit.
So we want to be able to create that same type of like habitual shopping,
Yeah.
but with something that you actually like.
Subscription. Put the
correct.
subscription in.
Yes. So
they're
stay
ready to
tuned. We
go.
got some of that coming up too.
And how long? I mean, you have the boyfriend jeans, you have the boyfriend PJs. I mean, women have long been stealing the men's clothing because they're
Exactly.
comfy.
Exactly.
Jessica and Jay, it's so great to see you. Naked Rebellion. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to Jamie's Local Love, the podcast. I'm your host, Jamie Soretta. Our technician is Tom Heidinger. Our editors are Lorraine Shearing and Gina Coy. Do you know a business worthy of some local love? Email me at jsoretta@azfamily.com. Follow us at facebook.com/Soretta and Instagram @Soretta News. Make sure to subscribe and give us a 5-star review, please. And tell your friends about the podcast and the businesses we feature to show your local love. You can find us on Apple, YouTube, Spotify, Amazon Music, and anywhere you get your podcasts.
Jamie's Local Love, an Arizona's Family Originals podcast.